Welcome to Sumita Roy's English Classroom. I'm Professor Sumita Roy. Today we have another video on grammar. We have already completed primary auxiliary verbs. Today we are going to talk about the modal auxiliary verbs. First, we will list the 13 verbs with their negatives and contracted forms. Then we shall see how they can be used. After this, there'll be some examples of each of the 13 verbs, followed by an exercise or two for you to do. Some of you have asked for grammar lessons. Although I'm very happy that you're asking for something, I must remind you that all the videos, more than 40 now, I think, have some element of grammar. Without grammar, you cannot speak a single sentence. So whatever you're learning in the purely grammar videos should be applied to the other videos. Yesterday, somebody said this without watching, I think, the literature video. Because in the literature video, you can find nouns, proper noun, common noun, subject, object. Did you analyze that? You didn't. So you didn't get the benefit of grammar from there. Then you have vocabulary, you have pronunciation. All these are there. These are necessary for your communication, for your spoken English. And every video has it. Just looking at the videos mechanically is not going to improve your English. So let us talk about modal auxiliary verbs now and see how in each video, right from video 1 till today, the modal auxiliaries have been used. Relook at all the videos again and try to find all the verbs which are modal auxiliary or which are primary auxiliary. You will find hundreds of them. That is how English is learned, not by looking at videos which are purely grammar only. I'm giving you purely grammar videos to make your English better, but that is not the end, that is the beginning. You have to apply. This application is most important. Here is the list of modal auxiliary verbs. There are 3 columns, as you can see. The first column has the modal auxiliary verb. The second column has its negative form. And the third column has a contracted negative form, a short form, a form which is shortened. As I told you earlier also, this short form is used when we are talking, in conversation, in informal communication. So we have to learn them. In primary auxiliary verbs also, we learnt all these contracted forms. Unlike the primary auxiliary, you can see the modal auxiliary verbs have only one form, and that is given in the extreme left column. The negative is there. Negative is not so important. It's the same verb that is there. Unlike the primary auxiliary or the lexical verbs, which have a root form, this is not a root form. This is a form which is used as a verb. The root form has, as I told you, many distinctions. You have the present tense, the past tense, present participle, past participle. These we have seen for the primary auxiliary. Here we do not have that. Here we have the list. So the verb can, negative is cannot, and the short form of cannot is can't. Pronunciation cannot and can't. There is a difference in pronunciation. So somebody will ask, Madam, give pronunciation video. Now, one is that you are more interested in grammar, you are more interested in vocabulary, not in pronunciation. Please understand that unless you pronounce a language correctly, nobody can understand you. Even if you have excellent grammar and vocabulary, to be understood by others, you have to improve your pronunciation. I want you to look at the pronunciation videos. I have put the videos, 3 of them, again and again and again, and practice so that your English sounds like English. So we have can, cannot, can't change. We don't say can't. Could, could not, and couldn't. May, may not, and mayn't. Might, might not, and mightn't. Should, should not, and shouldn't. Must, must not, mustn't. Will not, won't. Here there's a change. Spelling has also changed. Shall not, shan't. You see again, change is there. Would not, wouldn't. Need not, needn't. Dare not, daren't. Ought to, ought not to, and oughtn't to. Usually, need, dare, ought, these have the to addition. That means they use the verb form with to in front. That is the root form. And then used to. Used to does not have a negative form. Usen't to, we don't really use. And then it doesn't have a contracted form also. So this is the list which you have to look at carefully and see in all the videos where these verbs have come. Then you will really learn the modal auxiliary form. The modal, the word means to indicate the mood. So they are helping verbs or supporting verbs because they are auxiliary. So when there is a lexical verb or a main verb in the sentence, the mood of the verb changes if you add these. Alone, they cannot come in a sentence. Unlike primary auxiliary verbs, which can come alone in a sentence, they can function like a main verb. Modal verbs can never come in alone in a sentence. They can only come by acting as helping verbs or auxiliary verbs. Having seen the structure of the modal verb, now we see the function. Since it could not fit into a single slide, I'm making 2 slides for this. The first few verbs are there here, and the next ones will be there in the second slide. We started in the list with can. I'm following the same list as you saw in the previous slide. So can, we will give examples after we finish the functions. So just look at the functions now. Can is used for ability, possibility, permission, and for perception verbs. What are perception verbs? See, hear, touch, taste, think. These, what you use your senses. The 5 senses are used. Those verbs, taste, all these verbs can use can. Then you have could. Could can be used as the past of can. Suppose you say, I can do this work. You say, in the past I could do this, today I cannot do it. So past could can be used as, they don't generally have the past present form here, but some exceptions are there where could has many other functions, but one of them is also the past of can. Possibility, which is not certain, and request for permission. These are the 3 uses. Then may you can have as possibility. You can have as request, as permission. You can also have it for hope and prayer. For each of these, you will encounter some example in the following slides. Now, if you watch the video only for a minute or 2, you don't learn the thing. You just learn the structure of the verbs, you don't learn their function, or you don't learn their usage, which is most important. And the final thing is your homework, where you have to find where these verbs are being used in all the other videos which I'm posting on some other subject, not grammar. So you will never say that post grammar lessons, because then you will know that your grammar lesson should come only once a month, so that for the rest of the month, 29 days, you can check the other videos and find which item of grammar I have learned and how much it is used. Might is used for remote possibility. May is a possibility which is, you know, quite likely to happen. Might is less likely to happen. Suppose you see clouds in the sky, then you say it may rain. But if you see no clouds, but the weather forecast says that it will rain, then you say it might rain. That means no clouds are there. So you might feel that it might rain. Prediction is also there, and hypothetical situation. Hypothetical is imaginary, something which is not a real situation, but only something which you are imagining. Should is used for suggestion, duty, probability, and expectation. Now, those beginners who are finding these words difficult will look at the dictionary. And if you tell me which are the difficult words, I will make vocabulary videos for you. I haven't started with vocabulary because we are doing so many other things. Must is used for strong advised, obligation, and necessity. Now, suggestion and strong advice, should and must. Very often, should is you are saying mildly, must is you are compelling, you are putting some force. That difference is there in them. Here are the functions of the rest of the modal auxiliary verbs before we start with examples for each. We finished some of them in the earlier slide. Now we have some more. Will and shall have two functions. One of them is that they tell the future time. When they tell the future time, shall is used for first person and will is used for the second and third person. So you say he will come tomorrow, that is correct. If you say he shall come tomorrow, then it is compulsion. That means you're forcing that person to come tomorrow. Somebody is forcing that person to come tomorrow. That is the second and third person usage. You shall complete this homework. That means you are forced to complete the homework. You cannot escape. So shall is used for simple future for first person and for compulsion for second and third person. These days we use shall for first person future very less. In informal usage especially, we don't use much, so will can be used for both. But that is informal. The formal correctness is shall. Shall is used more in British English. Then we come to will. Will future for second and third person. Just now I mentioned possible also for first person. But usually will in the first person has a modal use. That is not a tense use. Now here I'm giving you the tense use, future, future, and I'm also giving you the modal use. The modal use is to promise. If you say, I will do this, that means you are promising. You cannot break your promise. Or we will do it. If you say we shall, then it is, you may or you may not. Future. But when you say we will, that is a promise. Then we have would. Like could is used as the past tense of can. We also use would as the past tense of will. It can also be used for the past tense of shall, but that is, it comes very rarely because this is in direct indirect speech specially. That also video I will do because somebody has asked already. Please be very patient because it takes me a long time to do the videos. So you can't expect me to do all the videos in one day. It will be slowly done, and all aspects of grammar, whichever you require for your good communication, will all be covered one by one, slowly, not, quickly, because then you will not grasp anything. Whatever you learn in your from your first class to your 10th class in 10 years, I'm trying to put it for you in a few months' time. Therefore, please be very patient. Would for past of will. Then you use it for polite question, request for permission, possibility, and preference. Preference is choice. I choose this, I choose that. So you would say, I would buy this sari or I would buy this dress. That was preference. Need is for necessity. It has used necessity. Dare is to show challenge and courage. These are two uses. And ought shows obligation. Used, I don't know where used has gone away. Uh, Used is used for past habit. Used is the last one. We say used to, and that is for past habit. Many people misuse it all the time. In fact, this is one of the commonest modal verbs that is misused. For present, you say used is past, so use is present. No, that is not the correct form. Used to as a modal auxiliary is only for past habit. That you have to keep in mind when you are using it. Now we come to the examples. Each slide shows you the example of one modal auxiliary verb. The verb is mentioned on the top and all the functions are mentioned to the left side. Then following the function, you have an example. I could only give one example each. You can have more examples, except in certain slides where there are more than one example. Here, there are only one example for each. So ability is something which you can do. So you say, I can climb this tree easily. Climb is the verb here. I climb this tree is a fine sentence. No problem is there in it. But you can show your ability. The mood of the sentence changes and you say, I can climb this tree easily. Possibility. You can try to do better. Try is the main verb. Can says that you have the possibility of doing better. So that possibility is indicated by can. Then permission. You have, they can explain the problem tomorrow. Now they were supposed to do it today, but you're permitting by saying they can do it tomorrow. Then you have perception verb, as I told you. See, hear, touch, smell, taste, all these can use can. She can hear the doorbell ringing. Now here you are using the verb hear. The main verb is hear, and here is used with can. Each verb you see, the form is the form of the present tense or the root form without to. So these verbs are always used. The modal auxiliary verbs are always used with what we call bare infinitive. Bare means without the to form. The to form, which I call the root in that earlier video. I will tell you again about this in lexical verb video. That is called as the to infinitive. And without, if you remove the to, what remains is the present tense also. That we sometimes use it without using the present tense. That is, you have the bare infinitive. So in modal verbs, we are using that form of the verb, the main verb. The modal verb has only one form, so you have to keep using it. Now you can also say the negatives. You can say, I cannot climb this tree easily, or I can't climb this tree easily. You cannot try to do better, or you can't try to do better. They can't explain the problem tomorrow, or they cannot explain the problem tomorrow. She can't hear the doorbell ringing, or she cannot hear the doorbell ringing. So three forms of can I showed you in the first slide, and here we have used them in these sentences. Here we have examples for the next verb, and that is could. First usage is past ability, so past of can. When you were young, that is past, you could visit this place. So when you were young, you could not visit this place or you couldn't visit this place. Then you have possibility, but it's not certain possibility. You don't know whether it will be possible or not possible. Just you are saying that there is a chance that we can do it. It could happen as you suggest. So you say it could happen as you suggest. Could is the verb is happen. Earlier the verb is visit, and could is used here. Maybe in the future it can happen. We don't know when, but it is not certain. Request for permission. This is maximum usage of could. Constantly this is used for, could is used for requesting permission. Could I trim the bushes for you? Bushes are small trees and they have to be cut. Sometimes if you go to a park, you see it's cut in the shape of an elephant or in the shape of a heart, some such thing. So that is called trimming the bush. Trim is to cut a little, not cut it off fully. So, could I trim the bush for you? Requesting permission. It is somebody else's bush. So, you are asking, should you do this work? Next, we come to the verb may. So, the economy may improve soon. Possibility. It is possible. Economy is improving everywhere now. So, we say possibility. Improve is the verb and may is used to change the form of this improve. Request, again, like, could I trim the bushes here? Request. May we pluck some flowers from your garden? You are requesting. Then you give permission also using may. Yes, you may pluck the red flowers, but not the yellow ones. You may not pluck, that is the form. But not is doing the work, because if we are speaking, short form is used. But the answer is, you may not pluck the yellow flowers. That is the full sentence. So you may pluck the red flowers, you may not pluck the yellow flowers. That is the idea. Then hope or prayer, we often use may. May you get well soon. Somebody has fallen ill. You are wishing them, may you get well soon. May you get a job as soon as possible. May you get your promotion. All these forms, a hope or prayer, we use the form may. The next form is might. As I told you while showing you the list, that may and might, good possibility for may and remote possibility. That means much lesser possibility for might. So that is the first usage. Though he is well now, anything might happen. Suppose somebody was very ill and suddenly he's slightly better. Then the possibility, it's a remote possibility because he's well, but the possibility is there. It is not completely as though the person has recovered. Prediction, this also uses might. The planets might bring you good luck. Many people do astrology, many people do reading of the stars. So you say the planets might bring you good luck. Might here implies a prediction. Then you have a hypothetical situation. I already told you hypothetical, I hope you remember, means an imaginary situation, a situation which has not happened, but you think that it might have happened. So had we gone out, we might have missed the exciting events. So we didn't go out, so we didn't miss anything. But had we gone out, imaginary situation, then we might have missed what happened here. This is how it is used. The next verb is should. I hope all of you are noticing that every sentence has a main or a lexical verb. The modal verb is only doing the helping function. It is changing the sentence in its modal form, that is the mood. Should is used for suggestion first. Everyone should follow the dress code in office. Now, in office, you have a special way of dressing. You can't wear whatever you want in office. But when there were online, work from home, online facilities, people could do anything. As long as only the visible part is all right, that is enough. So dress code should follow advice. Duty. Children should look after their old parents. We do it in India. We don't have many old age homes. The old parents always stay in a large joint family with their children. Probability also you can use should. The dinner should be ready by the time we get home. So this is possible that dinner will be ready when we reach. Expectation. The movie should end before 10 o'clock, I think. So you have an expectation. The movie is going on now. So the movie should end. That way you are using this form, and for each of them, you can also say shouldn't or should not. You can also find the verbs which are used. Those are the main verbs like follow, look, and ready, end. All these are the verbs. Be ready. Be is the verb here. This slide shows you must. Now, I also told you that there is a relationship between should and must. Should is a gentle advice. It's an advice which is not very forceful. But here, must is more compulsion. You have that compulsion element in must. All nurses must assemble in the emergency room at noon. There is no choice. That's not advice. You should assemble means you may or you may not come. But must means you have to be there. Obligation. I must talk to my family before making any decision. That means you owe them that much that unless they tell you yes, you cannot take any decision. Necessity. Patients must take the vaccine as soon as possible. If you don't take the vaccine, you'll fall ill. So must take. Here, other verbs will not do the function as much as this does. If you say need to do, that also is necessity. But need to do is very gentle, very mild. Must is much more forceful. So depending on the amount of force we want to add to the meaning, we have to use either must or need. Like this, most of the functions are sometimes repeated, but there are certain differences which you will know if you are looking at the examples carefully. And if you look through all the videos where I have been speaking English, wherever I have used these verbs, you will find that the modal auxiliary does the function which we are specifying here. You have to see which function and how it is used. That will be very beneficial. Now we come to will. I have given you many examples for the tense usage, the future time usage of will, because in the earlier slide we have not done it. We will do it when we are doing the lexical verbs. We have also to be form, will be or shall be. We have will have, will do, shall do. But I did not do these in the primary auxiliary form because tenses we are going to do separately. And there I will tell you about all the possible tenses where you have will and shall. So there are more examples here. The first usage is a modal usage. The second usage is a tense usage. This you have to make a distinction. Promise for first person, I will write the report immediately. That means you're promising somebody that I will do it. We will seek legal help to solve this problem. Again, you're making a promise that ordinarily we cannot solve, so we have to go to a lawyer. Promise. This is the usage for first person. When it comes to second and third person, you will, he will, she will, it will, they will. All the pronouns of the second and third person I have used with sentences. You will note that for everything, The main verb is there. Write and seek in the earlier two examples. Here, need, cancel, arrange, become, conduct. These you have to remember. You will need warm clothes when you go north. That is the usage for future. He will cancel his visit of next week. Again, future. She will arrange the files in the right order. Again, future. It will become dark soon. Again, future. They will conduct the meeting later. Again, future. Now, conduct, I'm pronouncing, please note, we had a video on this pronunciation 3, big, advanced level pronunciation. I told you when it is used as a noun, we say conduct. And when we use it as a verb, as we are using here, we say conduct. Ka, ka becomes ka, conduct. And then if it's noun, then we say conduct. The conduct of this person is very good. That means behavior, the way in which a person behaves. So your pronunciation will improve only when you look at those videos and you go on practicing them. I'm practicing throughout in all the videos, but you are concentrating on the subject. You're not concentrating on my pronunciation. Therefore, please go to those videos and then re-look at the other videos to check your pronunciation. This slide shows you the modal verb shall, which can also be used as a tense verb. So the first few examples are of the modal usage, and the next two examples are for the tense usage. So the future first person and compulsion second and third person. You shall sweep the floor and collect the broken objects. So you shall sweep, you shall collect. Two times shall is not repeated because when we are speaking, we try to make it as short as possible. But the implication is there. You shall collect. So sweep and collect are the main verbs, and you have the form shall for compulsion. He shall pay for his mistake. Then here again, compulsion. He shall pay. They shall rectify all the errors. Again, compulsion. They shall rectify, pay. Pay and rectify are the main verbs. The mood is indicated by shall. Then you have future, usually only in the first person. Because when you use shall for second and third person, it becomes a different usage. Therefore, you have to remember that we use it for the future in first person. I shall join them after office. You are just telling them about the future. We shall visit our village during summer. Again, it's only a plan, it's a future. Nothing, no mood is indicated by their use. Join and visit are the main verbs. The main verb form, that is the root form, does not have the future derived from it. Past is derived, present is derived, past participle, present participle. But you cannot derive the future in English from the main form. I will talk about this again in the lexical verb lessons. So here we have to add a helping verb, and that helping verb is will or shall. Now we come to the verb would. The first usage is the past of will. So she would have already told you the real reason for this delay. You can say she will tell you the real reason, present. She would have told you the past. So that is the usage. The verb is tell and have told. That is the verb form here. And then you have the polite question. Would you mind if I leave now? Would is the verb which is used maximum for asking polite questions. Then request for permission. Would you be willing to lend me your laptop? Then you have possibility. He thought he would be able to win the match. Preference. I would like some vegetarian dishes. So you don't want to eat everything, you want only something vegetarian. In this way, we use would for various moods, the verbs are all there. you know Leave is the verb in the second sentence. Then willing, be willing, to lend, all these are verb forms. Then he thought he would be able to, so be able to, that is the form. Then I would like, so the form is like, the verb form is like. In this way, you will find that the main verb's mood is changing by using the modal verb. Here we have the verb need. Need can be used both as a main verb and a modal verb. You must remember that I need a book. That is the lexical usage of need. The same verb need is used, but need also has an auxiliary usage, a helping usage, where you have some other verb in the sentence. So here are the examples of the modal form. We need to attempt all questions. To attempt is the verb, need. Need takes the form to also. You need to be more regular to class. Then need you run so fast? Run again is there. Need they shout? Shout is there in the middle of the night. He need not fault the gateman. So you have fault. Here fault is used by as a verb. She need not cry. Cry is the verb. And need not, need to, these are the modal auxiliary verbs. They are helping the main verb to show the mood of the sentence. Now we have the verb dare. Dare is used as a challenge and also to show courage. Usually lack of courage. That is usually what it is used with. I dare you to jump into this river. Challenge, Do you have the courage? I challenge you to jump. His friends dared him to find the ghost. This is a famous story of Swami Vivekananda's childhood, when his friends said, go and find the ghost in the middle of the night. Then you have courage. No one dares to go against these injunctions. Some rules are made and then nobody goes against them. We dare not tell you all that took place here. Something shocking took place. So we don't have the courage to tell you about this. The next verb is ought to, where we have three functions. First is obligation. The team ought to do as the manager suggests. No fight, no quarrel. You are obliged to do that. Then expectation. The project ought to begin soon. So you have ought to. Then you have the ideal. There ought to be better roads in the city. The roads are not good, so you need better roads. So that is the ideal situation. This is the last of our verbs showing the function of the modal verbs. After this, we have the exercises and their answers. With that, the video comes to an end. Please watch till the end. Use to, as I told you, has only one function, and that is to indicate past habit. If you say, I used to teach when you're a teacher now, then that is not correct, because it means that you have stopped doing that work. If I say I used to teach in the university, that is correct, because now I have stopped teaching in the university. Therefore, a past habit which is not continuing at present is the only usage where you can use this form used to. I used to love swimming when I was young. That means I don't like it now. He used to walk fast before he broke his leg. So after breaking the leg, he cannot walk fast. They used to sell many gift items, but now the shop is closed. So they used to, past, not present. The fort used to be here in ancient times. Today the fort is not there, or maybe it's broken. Earlier in ancient times, there was a fort here. So this is how the all the modal auxiliaries are used. I have shown you examples for each of them one by one. Now let us see how much you've understood, whether you can do the exercises and get all the answers correct. Here you have 5 sentences where you are given 2 modal verbs in brackets. You have to choose the correct one and complete the sentence. Farha, in choice is need and must, go to school as she's better now. Then you have Donald, choice is can and used to, take his brother to school this term. Then their mother, choice is should and could, come fast so that they don't miss the train. Next you have Padmini, in choices needn't, daren't, be afraid of going to school. Then you have Bill, and choices may and ought to, come galloping on a horse with his brothers. These are the sentences. Look at them carefully, and then when you've done it, then go to the answers. Here are the answers. Farha must go to school as she's better now. Donald can take his brother to school this term. Their mother should come fast so that they don't miss the train. Padmini needn't be afraid of going to school. Bill may come galloping on a horse with his brothers. These are the correct answers. I hope all of you got them all correct. Otherwise, listen to the entire video again and do the exercise once more. Now here is the last exercise which you have, where you have the clues given in brackets. The clues are the functions of the verbs. You have to choose the correct verb, the modal auxiliary verb, to continue to complete these sentences. They are fine sentences. There is no problem with them. But you can always add to the mood of the sentence by adding the modals. I see eternity when I look at the sea. You have to say ability one, separate sentence possibility. Then the clouds meet their reflection in the water. Here you have to say possibility and remote negative possibility. Then the third one, the birds catch their prey. Remote possibility one and negative possibility another one. Turbulent waves whisper in my ear. Then request for permission is one and suggestion is one. Then I gaze at the sea regularly. Past habit is one and strong advice is one. So each of them has 2 moods. You have to make the same sentence into 2 different moods. Do it and then check the answer. Here are the answers. For ability, I can see eternity when I look at the sea. I may see eternity when I look at the sea is possibility. The clouds may meet their reflection in the water, may possibility. The clouds mightn't or might not meet their reflection in the water, remote negative possibility. The birds might catch their prey, remote possibility. The birds mayn't or may not catch their prey, negative possibility. Could turbulent waves whisper in my ear? Request for permission. Turbulent waves should whisper in my ear, suggestion. I used to gaze at the sea regularly, past habit. I must gaze at the sea regularly, strong advice. So these are the answers. If you have got anything wrong, please redo the exercise. If you have not understood, look at the video once more or as many times as you need, where I have given the explanation. In that way, you will improve, you will become better. Thank you and all the best.